Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. Ho ho ho, happy Halloween. I think I did something wrong there. But it is Halloween season. Is that even a season? It's Halloween weekend coming up. So this is our yearly Halloween show. Usually we do it around Valentine's Day just to be weird, but this year we thought we'd conform and do it in October. Previous years we've done entire months, which I don't care who said it first. We owned Spooktober for a while there, Paul.
Yeah.
We said it in about 8 consecutive videos. Spooktober was practically our mantra. But now that we're coming to an end of it, and you being you're the doyen of horror for this particular group, you're the man in the know. You've been taken aback by how good some shows are. And I'm going to hear about them now. And everybody listening out there at home who is liking as we speak, it's the little like button. You want to hit that. We won't ask again. There'll be no talk of subscribing or commenting in this video. We're just looking for likes tonight. If you like Halloween, like it. If you hate Halloween, hit like. Paul?
Trick them into it.
Exactly. Trick or trick. That's all it is. Paul, hit me with it. I've been cheesy and I've given us a slightly different Halloween background. It is traditional pumpkin because it was done in all of 2 seconds. And it's stolen from a free stock site. Free, but license free, as in we're not stealing anybody's art. So Paul, the thing you're talking about is by a guy who's very smiley and he's in the top corner. Why are horror directors always so smiley?
I think because they just are doing something that they enjoy the most. You know, I think you have to have a sense of humor with the horror genre as well, because we all know really what it's all about. It's about scaring and you know, that kind of thing. So
yeah. Well, this guy whose name has escaped me now, who you will remember, Mike Flanagan. Thank you. I had to open it out to see the name. Has done in order, I believe it was Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and most recently this year, Midnight Mass. And folks, if I was to say, Paul has not stopped going on about how good this is, particularly Midnight Mass seems to have bowled you over. I think it's perfect fodder for a Halloween episode.
Yeah, so like essentially, we're going to go through essentially why these are so good and why they're kind of like they're revitalizing the horror genre in the sense of kind of doing all the rules, but also it's like a masterclass in horror kind of stuff. And by the end of it, I want you to be just like, all right, okay, there's like 8 episodes in each of these. I can definitely like dive through these kind of things very quickly in like a weekend or something like that.
Well, you'll know if it's worked, Paul, because we're trying out another little experiment as we do every week. I haven't seen any of the 3 of these, so Paul is basically not only going to be selling all of you on them, he's going to be selling me. And as we found out very recently, I'm quite the tough sell on things, Mr. Grumpy Pants over here. So I can already see in the comments, Brew is asking, no fancy dress? Well, actually, we both came as mermen. You only see it from the waist down, brother. Or are you a Minotaur this year? We can be
I am
below camera level.
I'm a merman.
you said that like somebody at a bar. It's like, hey, I'm a merman. You ever been with a merman before?
It just reminded me of Cabin in the Woods, you know. Guy Josh from West Wing is just like, I really want to see a merman.
And welcome Pop Culture. Also, Pop Culture's latest video was fantastic, by the way. I only got to watch it earlier today. Not a huge fan of the horror genre or slashers, but the good ones are great. And you've just started Midnight Mass. Well, you were in the right place, brother.
I'll go through each of the series as well, and also do the scale of scare. There we go. Just made that up. On each one of them, kind of thing.
You've cornered the market on that one now. I don't think anybody's going to be stealing scale of scare from us. But TM,
it's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. But I'll go through each of them and kind of tell you how scary they are. Now, I do recommend. I am a big horror person, so it's like Patrick likes hot sauce, and I do not like hot sauce. So him going, yeah, it's a mild one, and me dying in the corner with a bunch of milk is kind of how it goes.
Which, if I watch one of these and I'm scared to death, I am making you dinner and not telling you there's hot sauce laced through it.
That's so... My partner will love that, but
Revenge
I will
is a
hate
dish best served hot. Hey.
So... But yeah, so so Haunting on Hill House, Bly Manor, and also Midnight Mass. They're all Mike Flanagan's, which goes children, in the sense of he's the creator and director of each one of them. These are absolute masterpieces. They came out, which goes kind of in a good order of things. So Hill House came out in October last year. Bly Manor came out in September, and then not this September, but last September as well. Actually, no. Hill House came out 2 years ago.
That would make
October.
sense. Yeah.
Haunting House came out last year in September, and this one came out in September as well.
Yeah.
So, they are like an amazing group of actors as well, which we'll go through a little bit later. But the reason we're bringing these up is because they're masterclasses in how to do horror. So the first one, Haunting of Hill House, which is it's a traditional horror story of ghosts kind of thing. That's like as I said, these won't be spoiler. This won't be spoiler territory. It's just that Hill House is also a classic story. You might also know Hill House as do you remember The Haunting?
Yes,
The movie The Haunting.
Like that's the one title out of all of these, The Haunting of Hill House. That's an old thing in my head. Like it's been around for years in various forms. I'm assuming.
Yeah, like Hill House is kind of like it's a famous story or horror house kind of thing, and then movies have all accepted the name of Hill House as their kind of like location. So as I said, the Owen Wilson, Liam Neeson, not Salma Hayek.
Was it Married to Michael Douglas is from Wales? Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes.
That's how I get to Catherine Zeta-Jones, folks. I go Married to Michael Douglas and is from Wales. English left me completely there. Sorry.
You got there faster than I did. So, but that house is Hill House as well. So, like Hill House is kind of a cornerstone in horror, especially in the ghost kind of element or paranormal kind of one.
Gotcha.
So, cutting his teeth on essentially Hill House, The Haunting of Hill House, which is a remake, not a remake, but a retelling of another story that's specifically to do with Hill House, is kind of a bold move, to be honest, but it's incredible. First of all, they show, don't tell a lot of things. Our whole thing about not showing the monster for ages and keep you guessing, that happens throughout all three series, but like Hill House is kind of one of those ones where you get to try it. He gets to try it out first. And like throughout the entire show, you are just intrigued.
Okay.
So it's like a guess who kind of thing.
And if I ask a question that's going to lead to a spoiler, just don't answer it, by the way. But because I haven't seen it, I may ask some dangerous questions. So just tell me, no. But my question is, and this is I'm making sure that it's not a spoiler-filled question. Is there a mechanism where it maybe makes you think, is this a haunting at all? Or do they do the whole, are maybe these people overreacting, or is this in somebody's head a bit more, or it's like, oh, there's ghosts. No, it was the toilet that was backed up. That's what you could hear and smell.
They do an element of that a lot kind of thing. It's mostly, it's slightly through a method of a character, because it's mostly done through a character. It's based around a family, and one of the family members kind of is your vehicle of that kind of like healthy skepticism of kind of what's going on and stuff like that. But each of the characters are really well done, so that doesn't seem out of place. Even though it keeps you guessing quite a lot of whether this is all going on and stuff like that. So it's done to a really good character called Mike, I think.
Cool.
Which is nice because like he's your like guide to the whole thing. He's a helpful skeptic with you guys. So like you're eased into what's going on and stuff like that. So it's really handy to have one of those characters. Some of the other characters are not like later on in the other series. It doesn't play out so well in that kind of way. But this one it does.
I assume this is going to come up as we talk about the others. But I see a question from the chat from Pop Culture: are all three connected? I assume yes. But is it a tenuous link, or is it a definite link that Mick or Michael or whoever your protagonist is there are they a proxy for you the whole way through?
So no.
Okay.
So throughout the 3 series, they're not connected.
Okay, connected by director only.
So, and also a cast. There's a certain core cast that comes with it, which is another element in this. So, Bly Manor introduces you to the family, old and new. So, when I say new, I mean like the younger family and the older family, when like in kind of present time.
Gotcha.
That cast, I know I said that really weird, didn't I?
No, it came across. It was just, I could see you doubted yourself going, is it mean to say old family and new family? No, it isn't mean. You were fine.
So, yeah. So the core cast for the first one, a lot of them move out through to the other ones as well, which is a really good vehicle because in this, they gently get you familiar with the family. That's what they do.
Gotcha.
You know, which is good because you want that familiarity. You don't want to kind of be surprised by a character overly too much, unless that's the intended kind of thing, like, you know. So, which is great about the other ones is that those actors popping up gives you a sense of familiarity, which lulls you into a sense of false security for a bit.
Gotcha.
Which is a really good method of kind of keeping, and also some of the actors that go throughout the series are also throughout the 3 series are very good.
Well, I think there's something nice about just the kind of ensemble that's working together through multiple series, even if the story isn't the same and the characters aren't the same. I think that's worked in the past for so many different acting troupes, and to a lesser extent, even then, you know, in the 80s, you had a lot of people buddying up for multiple movies. Don't forget, we saw Bill Murray and Harold Ramis together first in Stripes, not in Ghostbusters. You know, you get. I think sometimes it's fun. For me as a viewer to see people that have worked together before playing different characters, because sometimes they'll be friends, maybe sometimes they'll be enemies, depending on the stories. So I'm into the idea that this director and this cast have a bit of a, this is some of what we do. This is our specialist subject.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. Like it's good to see the versatility of each of the actors in each of their new roles and stuff like that. But the faces, like, I don't know what it is, but the faces give you a sense of security that, like, when you're kind of going into a horror film or a horror series, it's kind of like, oh, these guys again.
You got friends with you.
and then it's just like, oh, okay, no, they're all, kind of thing. So it's a good method in kind of which allows you to see familiarity and get you into that self-inflicted sense of security, which is really good. Bly Manor or Hill House also does the whole thing of what you if you watch this multiple times, you'll see something new every time as well.
Good stuff.
So like I did the image that you have on screen right now, you can see that there's a person in the background.
Down at the right side of the stairs. Didn't even catch the cheeky bugger before now.
That is a method in which happens throughout some of the series, throughout 3 of the series. There is always something that you catch as you watch them further on and stuff like that, which is great.
Oh yeah.
Because it not only does it give you a sense of revisiting of kind of the show, I don't know, there's something eerie about your brain suddenly realizing that you're being watched by someone. And you don't know what they are or seeing them. You know?
Oh, it's that definite. Yeah, that's one of the back to the primal fears of it can see me but I can't see it, or you know I'm being observed and I haven't realized that I'm being observed. So that's classic. And in that image, genuinely, I hadn't clocked that guy, but the minute you said in the background of that image, the guy sticks out like a sore thumb now. Can't miss him. So when you watch this first time round, and I'm talking specifically about Hill House. The Haunting of Hill House. Did you, like, on second watch, you catched a lot? Oh, give me a second. You caught a lot more. Little reset there. Was it one of those things that at any point in your first watch through, you were like, "Gosh, there's someone there."
Yeah,
and the person with you was like, "What person there?" Oh wow, yeah. That's cool.
It happened several times in which there was something in the background or something, because it didn't, like, obviously they don't, like, you know, absolutely like sprinkle it in completely throughout the things. It's well done, really well done. Because as I said, there was a few times that I didn't see it and my partner did, and there was sometimes that I saw, or I saw it and she didn't. But there's sometimes that both of us didn't notice them at all, but we were just like, "What is going on?" It seems like something weird and creepy is going on in this scene. And then I rewatched and was just like, "Oh."
There you go. Oh well, look, I'm
It's like,
into an Easter egg, not just at Easter, and I don't even like chocolate very much. So this is my kind of idea of fun, where you're not playing Where's Wally, or for our American viewers, Where's Waldo. I don't know why we call him Wally and you call him Waldo. I guess it's popularity or trademarks, but that's the sort of thing that will make me want to watch it not just once, because knowing that I'm missing stuff, it's something about being a control freak and being a bit of a broken person in many ways. It makes me want to go back and collect them all, if you know what I mean, almost.
yeah, like I completely get that. Like once I saw one, so this is the one that I saw first. And once I saw one, I was just like, "There's got to be more. They can't be the only They can't be the only one."
That's
Kind of thing
great.
that they put into the background. So it got me really excited about kind of like break. Now it's continuing on the series and watching for kind of things in the background and stuff like that.
And
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 like,
our one of our commenters says that didn't even see it either. So yeah, how cool you didn't catch it either. Yeah, well done indeed to those people. Also, gentle Halloween warning for you, Paul. Brew is in the chat, and Brew is the other person that I know loves a bit of horror. And not only that, he always spends his time looking around all the screen. He was so conditioned. Brew, tell me that paranormal activity, and you watched a whole bunch of those. You know that genre of like security cam type films.
yeah,
I remember Brew went through a binge of that at one point because he was telling me about the stories, and I was like, "Wow!" And he's like, "Yep, looking all around the screen, nothing gets by me anymore. Every crack of a door, he's on it." So this would be a great challenge for you, Brew. You got to get this into you because it's going to be a different style of film with your hidden Easter eggs in the background.
yeah, no, definitely. Like, because I'm also in tunes and kind of like looking around the screen because like jump scares are kind of a second nature thing to me now. So like I don't know what it is. I'm kind of like, oh, here comes one,
Yeah,
the thing, you know. And what's also great about these three series is that they don't overuse a jump scare. It's not an overload. Like there's a big sense of creepiness on everything. That's the best part of it. You know, so like you're not held there and kind of like, oh, I'm this is just going to be jump scare galore with a bunch of ghosts. It's more about setting a tone, setting a mood, like you're intrigued of what the story is and what's going on, and the answer that they don't
oh,
put in
that's
front of
good.
you, but they put there is what drives you forward to like every episode I was getting creeped out by something in Hill House. I was getting creeped out by something, but trying to figure out what the answer or what was going on just made me want to continue on as much as we got scared and stuff like that. So like Hill House is a big member of kind of like the I would say the kind of haunted ghost story.
Cool.
That's the genre that they're going with. And the next one is a little bit different. It's more ghosty, but
You've got to give this
same.
your scare. What was it? Scare
The
scale.
scale of scare.
Scale of scare.
Yeah.
And also, I'm really glad to
Um,
hear, and if my wife is watching, you hear that it's not too bad on the jump scares. Because you know, the scariest thing for me watching a scary movie isn't watching it on my own, it's watching it with my wonderful partner. Because jump scares don't get me physically too bad, but they do, and then she scares the living crap out of me. I've been to scary movies in the cinema where like it's not working on me at all, except for the fact that every now and again a jump scare will happen, and she'll grab me in a way that I'm like fight or flight mode straight away. I feel like I'm being mugged in a cinema. So it's not too bad on that front. So on the scale of scare, where is Hill House? I feel like we should
I
have a
would say
meter.
I say this is an 8.
Ooh, hovering at a good 8. That's a solid number, Paul.
Yeah, like like as I said, there was moments that I was also like scared and stuff like that. And I will say that ghost stories done well are actually my Achilles heel within the horror genre. Slashers
Oh.
and slashers and gore fests and stuff like that kind of do not scare me, kind of thing. Or supernatural stuff as far as kind of like demons and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But like ghost stories and traditional ghost stories are the ones that creep me out the most. It's the running up the stairs and going under your blanket and going, I'm protected now kind of thing is what
So,
this gives me the feeling of.
Halloween side note before we pull Bly up, then, or the haunting of Bly Manor, or Bly Manor, right? What's another outside of this series? What's another good ghost style story that scared you that you would recommend for our wonderful viewers and listeners?
Oh, Room 1408.
Is
Do
that
you
the
know that
John
one?
Cusack one?
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Not Morgan Freeman, Lawrence Fishburne as the
yeah.
concierge. I think
I
it is Lawrence Fishburne.
I honestly can't remember. I know I've seen that, but I've forgotten all of it. Um, but yeah, I remember that being quite good. Room 1408, 1418,
Yeah,
1408. I might
I
name.
yeah I might have gotten that name wrong, but
I
yeah,
think you're
it's
right.
it's based on a Stephen King novel, and I remember watching it in my friend's house, and I watched it recently, and I'm still kind of like this is still a creepy kind of show movie and stuff like that, but like back in my kind of like I'm delving into every single horror film I can definitely think I was scared running home, and I lived 3 doors down from my friend,
Oh, I hate that though
like
because
kind of
it doesn't
things.
matter how long it is or how far it is when you're younger and you're scared. It's you can never run fast enough. So
I was
that's that.
18.
I meant no disrespect.
No,
It's
no, no, that's not what I meant. I was like, it scared the crap out of me, and I was 18. Like,
well,
it
that's a
was.
that's a good movie right there. I'm going to take this juncture to be the cheeky YouTube person that says, for the live chat, this is your opportunity. What's your favorite haunted ghost story style Halloween thing? Get that in there. And also, those of you watching in the future, hi, future people, do us a little favor, throw it in the comments down below, because I would love by the end of this, I'm sensing there might be 3 different genres kind of covered in these series, a little.
Kind of, yeah.
Then we may have 3 answers from each of you. So get in the comments with what your pick for ghostly style haunting movies are. Paul Bly, I gotta
Yeah.
say it has a much creepier poster, and of the images you sent me, the one that's up right now is a dude with light bulbs for eyes. Um, that's unsettling.
Yeah. Yeah, so um Bly Manor is another kind of ghost storytelling kind of thing. So it has some changes and stuff like that. What's really good about this is it feels Hill House is really good. It keeps you in the intrigue kind of method and stuff like that. This kind of refines it even further, kind of thing. And it's not whereas Hill House, it's the one event that you want to know about. In this, it's the background of all the characters that you want to know about. So they kind of branch out a little bit more. So there's
Cool.
still that answer at the end of the story that you want to know, but it becomes multiplied because each of the characters have their own kind of backstories and kind of elements. Whereas in Hill House, it's all about one family kind of thing, which is amazingly done because it really feels like from he was just like, all right, I want to get my vehicle of intrigue and horror done, Hill House done, Bly Manor. It's now kind of okay. I want to focus on the characters and I want to focus still on that intrigue and that horror elements and stuff like that. But it's more about the intrigue kind of thing. I would say that there's a lot less scarier moments in this, but
Okay.
there's a lot more intrigue for each of the characters' own stories.
Uh-huh.
Which so like it's kind of so yeah, so that's kind of the bigger thing. And like yeah, the elements with that person in the background and stuff like that, it's like a kind of chip on their shoulder thing. It brings that in and kind of stuff. So you get to see it more and more on each of the characters and stuff like that. And you get really surprised about what's going on. Um, so like our main character is actually from Hill House as well, which goes who you follow, which goes and Raoul
Well,
is
Coley.
in this. Yeah, he's Raoul Coley is a new member of the cast in Bly Manor. Very good as well. But each of the cast members are mixed around in this, so like they're no longer a family; they're now kind of like other people. So once again, you get that kind of sense of familiarity and stuff like that. And then Raoul Cal fits perfectly in. So does I'm gonna mispronounce her name, so I'm gonna double check that name, which is Talil. Oh my god, I'm gonna mispronounce that name really badly. So,
That's okay.
Tania Miller,
Okay,
I
there you go.
think, which is she's another actor in Blind Manor, which is another which goes she's another new member of the cast, but because they mix in so many new characters and some new actors, kind of thing, you get a really good sense of kind of you get a sense of that familiarity, but you get a sense that they're all different people, kind of thing. So that's where the disconnect kind of happens. It also involves small children, which is also my Achilles heel in which goes in horror movies, and that stems from The Shining with the twins on the hallway.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it is terrifying.
Yeah, look, small kids have a long and storied history in horror movies. And it's great. They can be used as either the thing that you're scared that you don't want it to get hurt, or else, why is that kid so confident and walking towards me right now? This is a bit creepy. Get back in the cornfield. You've kids are creepy when used correctly in horror. Paul, I can see it is 1408, by the way, which good call. Identity. If Identity counts as a horror movie, then I want to claim it as one of my favorites because I love Identity. That's the one where they're all in the storm at the motel room. It's the
Oh
one that I
yeah,
keep saying is a Christopher Nolan movie, even though I know it's not, because I'm like, it feels like it's a Christopher Nolan movie because it's brilliant. It's one of my favorites. I absolutely adore that film.
that's a
It's just
really
perfectly made, and the ending, which we cannot spoil, I very much dug.
that's a really good actually. Like weirdly enough, that's a really good way of describing a movie. Like a Christopher Nolan movie. It's just like okay, well I've got it in my head now. Of kind of like
Yep,
it's going to be really nicely shot. The story's going to be really well. That's
it's
really good.
awesome,
I
and
like that.
the others got called out here as well, and luckily that is one I've also seen, the Nicole Kidman film from I'd say about 10 years ago now. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was horror done well as well. So I'm glad that I've seemed to have decent enough taste in outside of a genre that I'm not great with. Um, you're reading the comments right now too, aren't you?
Yeah,
Uh,
I seen Bruce. BBC did a show in '92 called Ghost Watch that
oh
freaked me out.
Jesus! If you haven't seen Ghost Watch, folks,
Oh,
go and Identity isn't horror to you, but it's fab. Yeah, see, I wouldn't have considered it horror either, but I guess it is. It's plenty scary in it. But yeah, that Ghost Watch thing, YouTube it. It's a travesty. It could only have been made in as kind of pseudo reality TV in the 90s. It's imagine War of the Worlds, the radio play that scared everybody. Imagine that if it was just done by a load of really bad people, cynically. But yeah, I remember that too. Gosh, I'm too old, 92. But I want to get over to pop culture's comment of I do more supernatural ghost stories, monster shows, X Files. X Files, some of the best horror or at least horror close adjacent stuff that I can think of were the darker ones of the X Files. Because it's like Twilight Zone and stuff. Some of the old originals scared the living poop out of me,
yeah.
and had just really quite psychologically motivated scares. Not so much jump scares, more I don't want to go to bed thinking about that because I know the dream that I have based on it will be much worse than the Twilight Zone episode because I'll be in the damn thing. Yeah, and small children are the scariest. Bioshock game, yeah. Bioshock and little kids. I think that definitely covers that.
Yeah, the little sisters in Bioshock.
So,
Um,
Paul, if the first one was ghostly and this is more about intrigue on the background of the characters, I gotta ask, and it's a horrible thing to do. Which, oh, well, no, I should wait till you do your meter. Sorry, I was gonna say which did you prefer, but I gotta wait for the meter. I'll know if it's an 8 or below.
so that's the thing. So like, so yeah. So as I said, the scares are less, but they're so much more refined and stuff like that. That it's like it makes it a lot more scarier. It's not the scariest. Hill House is still way scarier. But by manner, it feels like the scares are more kind of like refined, and the reveals of certain things are more refined, kind of thing. It definitely feels like Mike Flanagan is kind of like is stretching his kind of like suspense and reveals a lot more in this one than he is in the in Hill House, kind of thing. Which it makes a very good, scary kind of series, but it's more about kind of like the characters and their kind of how they connect or how they don't connect, and the kind of things.
And
So,
if the cast and director and probably crew, because you imagine a lot of the crew probably came across along with when people are traveling in groups like that and working as a troupe, a crew are usually included. Was there any sense that they got more money based on the success of the first one, or are they, production budget wise, did they look on a par? I know it's a boring question, but it's one of those things that
no,
hits me in the head.
I don't think that's a boring question, because I think it's actually very good, because it will show you kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. See, this is the thing is the production value. I will tell you that I think Midnight Mass does get a production bump,
Okay.
but these two I don't know, because like they are so well shot together and stuff like that, and they are based around a house, that it's like house and its grounds, that it kind of doesn't
It's self-contained, which in itself is good for budget.
yeah, kind of thing. So like it's, yeah, and with a small enough cast in both of them, you can't really tell if, like, I would say that some salaries were probably bumped up a little bit,
Yeah.
because as they continue on through the series and stuff like that. But the production value is very good and very similar. So like, you don't, when you're watching the two series, you don't get that sense of kind of like, ooh, so they could have done more in Hill House if they had the cash, kind
Gotcha.
of thing.
Yeah.
It's more if they had more cash in this, they don't show you where it came out, kind of thing, which is really good. But it really feels like it was the idea on this one was kind of like, let's focus on other elements and stuff like that, so that we can still scare the crap out of you, but um, we also want to enjoy a lot more story, kind of thing, and characters and stuff. So, which
Well,
is great.
and it's just been pointed out, and I'm glad it was the scare meter, or sorry, the scale of scare doesn't determine whether or not something's good or bad. So I'm going to ask you separately where you rank the three of them at the end, I guess. But before
Oh
you
yeah,
close
yeah.
out the Haunting of Bly Manor, I want the scale of scare.
I would say that it's a 6.
Oh, so not as scary.
No,
Now I have to ask: is it? Would you rate it higher or lower from a good or bad?
I
Did you
would.
prefer it to Hill?
I didn't. Hill House was a lot. I guess because Hill House was fresher, and then when I went into Bly Manor, it's still like it's still a ghost story, kind of thing. It's got other elements to it as well, but it's like it's a ghost story as well at the kind of core of it. So like it's kind of similar. So that kind
Gotcha.
of like freshness doesn't kind of like get redone or anything like that. Like, it is good to see more characters and going into them more and stuff like that, and going into that branching thing, which in the next series you can tell kind of like that really helped. Um, because it feels like he's kind of juggling a lot of characters in Blind Manor, and he's doing it really well. And then when they go into Midnight Mass, he also has to juggle a lot of characters, and because of Bly Manor, he's able to do that really well. So, I guess it's kind of like, it feels like this is a, not to in any way slag Mike Flanagan and his abilities in horror. It feels like it's like a student learning the craft and getting better and better at it. Even though like he did Doctor Sleep. Um,
Which was called out by the way
uh,
in the comments, and I want to ask you that actually because pop culture, and also I want to say hey Nora who's joined the comments earlier and didn't get a shout out. Nora, want you to stick in at some point your favorite horror film, but the what's the name of that film? Doctor Sleep, which I haven't seen
mhm.
yet. He's wondering if he's the only one that rates it highly, or suggested that maybe he is. I vaguely remember you rating it quite highly. So there
Yeah,
you
I like
go.
it very much.
Great minds think
It's
alike.
it's not a it's not a perfect adaptation of kind of Well, neither is The Shining. I apologize. Neither is The Shining. The Shining's not a perfect adaptation of the book either.
No, I
It's not a
suppose that's true.
perfect adaptation of the book Doctor Sleep, but it's really, really good, and it's good as a sequel towards the movie The Shining. Like Ewan McGregor is very good in it.
Hey, gosh.
Um,
I don't know why I never really got round to that because I remember you kind of recommending it. I had to kind of check how much you liked it there, but why the hell didn't I watch it? Maybe that's something I need to get off the list this Halloween.
it's like Brew said it as well. Bly Manor went under the radar a lot, kind of thing. Like Hill House made the rounds and stuff like that, and then Bly Manor came out, and I think it kind of went under the radar. Doctor Sleep is very much the same. It went under the radar,
Gotcha.
kind of thing. So like, I'd recommend watching The Shining and then watching and then Doctor Sleep as well.
Oh well, I have seen The Shining. I have seen The Shining many's a time. I've seen The Shining in many's a way. And actually, we've now got to. When I was younger, I saw it through fingers. In fact, I've seen it in every format. You know, widescreen, finger screen. But I got to throw it out there because it's been asked. And I'll tell you what. I'll go back to our pumpkin for Halloween. There is The Shining horror. This is a comment from Pop Culture. Is The Shining horror? I know it has moments, but some say it's not, and some say it is. I count it. I am on the fence a little, but I would say, see, I don't know if I want to use the word horror or scary movie because it's a really good, brilliant movie in my opinion. And yes, it scares me. Does that make it horror? Because if it does, then yes. Would I think of it as horror movie? Because I don't necessarily think in that genre necessarily. Because I tend to be, I'm pretty remedial about it. Because it's slasher movies and all that kind of stuff. It's horror.
See that?
And I know that's my failing. That I'm not saying that that's the correct way to view it. So The Shining kind of sits outside it a bit, but I think it probably counts, right?
So yeah, like that's the thing is I now don't think actually in horror movie kind of thing.
Mm.
I think of the subgenres of horror movie a lot more. Like I would count The Shining as a paranormal movie
Yeah.
because it's got paranormal elements to it, kind of thing. So I guess under the umbrella kind of genre of horror, then it would be I do include it there kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like I think it's more kind of a suspense thriller as well as a little bit more paranormal kind of thing. I think
Is
the paranormal elements make it kind
is
of
there a
thriller
subgenre of
suspense.
horror called like suspense horror that is like because yeah, suspense thriller is maybe the best way to put it, but it's definitely still scary. Rather than some suspense thrillers that are not actually scary in the end, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
a
because
kidnap movie or something where it's a suspense thriller, but there at no point is Jack Nicholson going to be scaring the poop out of you. Or more importantly, those two little girls. Not to go back to kids are scary, but you're right. Those twins are just pant-wettingly frightening.
even Danny is creepy as
He
hell,
is. Yeah.
and he's meant to be one of the kids that you're rooting for.
Yeah, I know. I would have
So
taken that trike off him after, the third act or the first act. I would have been like, no more cycling around the halls, you little shit.
see, Bruce said, "Is it psychological horror?" I don't include it as psychological horror because psychological horror, I would say, has less jump scares and
Mm,
is more and like I would say that the hallway scene with the blood and also with the twins would be psychological horror, but there's a lot more jump scares in The Shining than you think.
and I tend to put
Um,
things like, the Buried Alive type movies in under psychological horror because that's where it's really just, there's nothing coming at you. But it like if they have to fit in the horror genre, then that's the one that I would pick for them because it's not a horror movie just to be buried, but it is bloody horrific and scary, and it is again it's a tense thriller that's really a psychological horror. Gosh, sorry, I went rabbit hole on you there, but it's an interesting
no,
one.
like,
It's a great
but that's a
question, by
good
the way.
thing.
Thank you for that.
But that's a good thing. Like you can always that's like I guess what's really good about like Bly Manor, Hill House, and Midnight Mass is you're just like yeah they're horror movie kind of stuff. I would be interested in kind of going through other movies that would be seen as maybe adjacent to this genre that everybody expects them to be.
Ah,
You know, kind of thing.
yeah, I
Like
know what you
there's
mean.
that that could be a really interesting episode where we kind of look at movies that are just like, oh, people are just like, that's a thriller, and you're just like, actually, technically, it's this.
Somebody who works in the channel, write that down. Hang on. Yeah. Also, I know somebody had to do it, but I notice Brew is into horses, and that's a red rum joke that only the older amongst you may get. We've got, oh my god, we got Mal. Indian Burial Ground is a horror classic. Let's face it, Poltergeist, which came up last week, I think. Were we talking about Poltergeist recently? Or during when we were talking about Dune, maybe? Poltergeist is one of those scary movies that I've seen an awful lot. Like, I've seen that at least 20, maybe 25 times. And you know what? If I watched it right now, I'd still be scared of the clown under the bed. I'd still be scared of the tree outside. Carol Ann, again, kids being creepy. Even the kids you're supposed to be rooting for. I'm like, let her go. Just get her to stop shouting through the bloody TV. Go into the light, Carol Ann. Get the hell out of here. You're making this movie too scary. They had other kids. They'd have been fine. Hey, joking, obviously. I have to say that because the internet hates people with that dark sense of humor. Midnight Mass, Paul. Did you want to get there?
Just with the Indian Burial Ground thing, it is a classic trope, being with Pet Cemetery, Poltergeist, whole Saturday. It's in Paranorman as well, which is that stop clay animation kind of movie, which is also great. I have not found anyone who really likes that movie, and I'm just like, what the hell's wrong with you? Watch that movie. Seen it. John Goodman's in that film.
I do love John.
Yeah.
I love John Goodman. Who does? Actually, if you don't like John Goodman out there, tell me why. I'd love to know why he's not just lovable, because he's always larger than life in a kind of, he's a presence and a half. His turn on The West Wing, which I know you're watching. Have you got to the John Goodman era yet?
Yeah, we're just there.
Fantastic. Sorry, I sidetracked us again. West Wing is not very Halloweeny unless you're scared of being bored to death by politics, and I am never bored to death by politics. Midnight Mass, Paul. So far, I would say this is the one that has hit my radar the most from a word of mouth. Like, I remember the Haunting the Hill House, bit of kind of water cooler chat about it. This one, it's caught an awful lot of people's attention.
Yeah. Like, this Midnight Mass has got a lot of attention because it's like, so it is loosely based on a movie that's already exists. It's loosely based on a bunch of Stephen King elements too. But it's not a ghost story. So it kind of like goes in a different direction, which is great. But it does what great horror does, which is it draws a parallel between an existing thing and a supernatural thing, which is great.
Nice.
So like, in as I said, I really want to do a spoiler thing, but I also really want you guys to watch it. So like, I'm trying to avoid it. But yeah, Midnight Mass does that really great thing of doing that parallel. But in this, the once again, it's really well done in the character elements. The characters bring you right. You're reintroduced to this place, which is through the eyes of a character who hasn't been there in a long, long time. It's based on an island town, kind of thing. So like, it's already like they plug in the sense of isolation quite well. Right from the beginning, so that kind of familiarity of some of the characters from the other TV shows is like, and then it goes, but you're isolated, and you're just like, I'm on edge again, kind of thing, which is great. There's a really horrible scene in the second episode I will warn people about.
Oh,
it was very distraught, or it brought me a lot of distress between me and my partner also, kind of thing. My partner actually just watched that episode today, and I was just like, I need to warn you about this.
We should go for a walk.
I didn't tell her about it. I didn't tell her about the scene or anything like that, but I got a thank you afterwards. I've kind of like, thank you for preparing me for that episode, or that scene. So I will warn people about that, but that's the level of scariness, or that's the level of kind of acting and like scenes and the distress that it will give you, kind of thing. So like, it's very well done. It's another craftsman of kind of show not tell, but in elements that work, as in it doesn't show you the answer again, gotcha. Which brings your intrigue a lot. which is great. It is more. See, I can't. Yeah, it's hard.
I'm gonna try and help you out by kind of asking questions that you can then avoid spoilers with. So and obviously the idea of isolation, since this isn't set in, this isn't a house, this is not a manor. This is a small area, let's say. I guess if you're talking about isolation, that leads itself to a whole new kind of. I think one of the things about kind of haunted house movies, that all the scary stuff is in or around that house. But the idea of the haunted village, all of a sudden, all of the woods, all of the buildings, all of the everything are all fair game for being something that you're nervous about them going near. So is the slightly expanded scope of even just physical movement, is that used to good effect by this team?
Yeah, yeah, like they show you everywhere on the island. They go to different locations. They go, those kind of like hometown known areas that like you have a name for,
Oh, okay, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing. You like they show you one of those right at the start of the show, kind
Gotcha.
of thing. So it gives you kind of like this homely town of everybody being there for ages. So there's like a name that's been passed down and passed down. Um, and it's got history towards us and stuff like that. So. And then yeah, they use this space a lot more than kind of than a haunted house does. Because like the I guess the trope with haunted houses is just leave.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's that kind of thing where was it? I think it might have been Eddie Murphy did the joke about you walk into a house and it goes get out. You get out. There you go. House just told you what to do. Out you get. Also,
Yeah,
I think one of the things about haunted house movies, it's windows, doors, and hallways with some basement, minor amount of attic, and maybe a roof now and again. But the scary town, scary island, scary place, trees, garbage cans, walls, normal stuff, cemeteries, which I know are also normal stuff, but let's face it, if you're shooting something in a cemetery, it's probably a horror movie or a comedy. So that's kind of cool. And even just looking at their poster, I love the idea of the almost abandoned town aesthetic, because that's just creepy in and of itself, because it's got that sort of, hey, we're here, but this place is kind of already dead all by itself. You're living in a ghost town, so to speak. So that's kind of cool. This is the one that I think I would use the others to build up to this. I'm glad this was third and not first, if that makes any sense.
well, I'm also glad in the sense that Mike Flanagan didn't go for this one first, because you can see the refinement from the other two all in this. It's like they hammered out everything in the first two brilliantly, but this is kind of where it all comes together. Like as I said, the being able to juggle multiple characters with detailed kind of backstories and good kind of elements. It gives you a sense of the town being quite big. Even though, as you said, it's a dying town. There's not a lot of people staying there anymore and stuff. But the characters that you do know and get and see a lot, you get to know quite a bit of. So like the juggling of characters is quite well done. The things in the background, once again, there's elements of that as well in this, which is done expertly as well. But I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
But there's also yeah, it's also elements of kind of I guess that this is more kind of associated with realism, with a slight path to the horror, which like when you're going to a horror house, like it's haunted. It's the haunting of Bly Manor, the haunting of Hill House. There's a haunting.
You know
Midnight
what you're
Mass
getting there. Yeah, that's true.
tells you nothing. It tells you
Yeah.
nothing about it, which is really good because like I think the realism next to it and the everyday plight of everybody in this town and stuff like that grounds you to it. And then when the kind of things start to happen and creepy things start to happen a little bit more and stuff like that, you get the sense of kind of like, that's not real. That's it. That person's crazy. You're part of the mob, kind
Yeah,
of thing going with it.
I get that.
So yeah.
Well, Paul, I got to say, and Nora called out Pet Cemetery, Salem's Lot, but Cabin in the Woods, just got to mention, everybody, if you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, do watch it. And yes, even though it is funny, it's still got plenty of scares. And I think it's great horror insofar as it pays homage to all the things that I ever think about or have thought about when it comes to Cabin in the Woods and horror type movies. So it's quite awesome. But I wanted to get onto pop culture's comment because it kind of ties back to what you're talking about now. Movie that scared you most is not a horror, but might as well been Fire in the Sky, just because it was based on a true story. I wouldn't go outside at night for a while. But you were kind of mentioning that this Midnight Mass has more of a grounded feel in, you don't have to go to the local big scary house for this. You can put yourself here that much easier and that much faster. So, yeah, I'm guessing that if the budget went up and their practice, let's say the first two albums were great, this is the third album that really knocks it out of the park. I'm assuming, or am I assuming incorrectly?
Yeah, I would say that this is my favorite one so far. Out of the three series, the scale of scare is a lot less.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
like it's probably, for me, it's probably like a 4.
Oh my god, we went from 8 to 6 to 4 is around here, I
So
guess.
yeah, so going in twos, kind of thing. It's, as I said, the it's not because it's not fresh or new or anything like that. It's just it's a genre of the horror movie things that I'm well used to, but it's more that it's like really well done kind of thing. Like it's like a fine wine of the certain genre that I also really do watch a lot of. So like
And
watching
that,
this
that says something. If you got somebody who watches a lot of a particular genre, when something stands out as great, it's usually because it's great.
Yeah, like this, it's so good in the sense of just they could remove the kind of paranormal element to it or the horror element to it, and this would just be a great. You could just watch it as a soap opera, like not even a soap opera. It would be a great. This would be a rival to Neighbours or something like that, kind of thing.
Excellent.
Like you just want to know more about the characters and things. They really make you hate certain characters as well, which is really good. Like there's characters that I hate.
That one was coming from a deep down place. You really don't like some of those characters. So that means, look, if you can write your characters well enough that people have visceral reactions to them, be that love, hate, or caring or despise, then you've done something right, because that means you're connecting with your viewers. So well done. What's his name again? Who I've forgotten again. I wanted to call him Peter Jackson for a minute there.
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan. Jeepers. So, Paul, and now I'm just going to ask you the random question because we're heading towards time, and I want to head towards closeout with you. But if this was if this is that good that you could remove the horror elements and you'd still want to watch these people, what do you want up next? If you got to write a letter to Mike Flanagan now, going, you're going to get to keep your same cast. Your crew is vibing brilliantly. You're on an upward trajectory here on quality. But I notice your scare factor is going, 8, 6, 4. Would you want to say to him, hey, next thing you guys all do together doesn't even have to be scary, because the less scary's been going okay for you?
Yeah, like that's the thing. I could definitely just be like, hey, just get the cast together and just write a really good 8-part series about people's lives. You're doing really well with that alone, without the kind of horror likeness to it.
That's high praise.
Like you're making me interested in these characters. I love these characters throughout the 3 series. That, as I said, they could just. It seemed they really write good characters, which is really, really important, because in horror you tend to have one-dimensional characters. Like as we said, Cabin in the Woods even makes fun of it.
Yeah.
Whereas they're full-fledged characters. You believe that these people exist. You believe everything about them. Kind of thing. So
well,
that's
you just got to read the latest comment and you'll work out why I'm laughing. It's
with scares.
Downton Abbey with scares. I want to know what Downton Abbey anybody's watched that they haven't had scares. It's an intense, thrilling thrill. Well, I only watched the movie. It's a thrill ride of a movie with stairs in both the literal sense of things that you walk up and down, and also the sense of people staring at each other. But no, genuinely, watch Downton Abbey, folks. I was blown away by how much I enjoyed that little old movie.
I ended up watching the entire series.
Yeah, and you gave it thumbs up as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
So
it's
there you
actually
go.
really good. It's really interesting.
So maybe you need to get onto this dude and be like, you know what your next project should be? Downton Abbey with scares. Although now that we've said it out loud, pop culture will have to get some sort of kickback on any money earned. So we can erase this video, right? This is all on tape.
Yeah, true. Okay, so just quickly go through some of the actors. There's a lot of breakout actors. There's the core group kind of thing, which are very good. That is, let me just go to my notes and double check them. Which goes Henry Thomas. He's very good. He plays he plays kind of older gentlemen that are excellent. Which goes, I haven't seen him in anything else, so I do recommend. He's a really good character. Which goes Raoul Cole, as we said before, he's from iZombie as well. Him in Midnight Mass and also in Bly Manor are just fantastic. Cannot say more to them. Kate Segal, who's in Bly Manor and in Midnight Mass, is excellent as well in both of those. I know I'm flying through these.
You're doing good. You're doing good. I'm letting you down a wee bit here, but you're doing good.
Kind of thing. So also I want to say that which goes Victoria Pedery. She's in both Hill House and in Bly Manor. She's Dana in Bly Manor. She's very good. Like I can't like.
Is she
the
by
two
any
characters...
chance the one with the light bulb man standing behind her?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I guessed right.
Yeah, so she's very good. The characters that she plays are very different in both Hill House and Bly Manor, which is fantastic. Oliver Jackson, which goes Oliver Jackson Cohen. He's very good. He's in Bly Manor and Hill House, excellent as well. And then I have to say, actually, and then Tina Miller, who's in Bly Manor, but Emilia Bay Smith, which is the child actor from Bly Manor, talking about stealing the show. She's probably the best character actor in the shows. And
you probably can't tell us a whole lot more about her, can you? Because
nope.
Yeah, I knew it. Oh, now she's going to be key. I'm going to be watching it going, does she turn out to be creepy kid or kid you're supposed to care about? Oh,
it's so difficult. But I also want to give a shout out to Hamish Linklater. He's from we see him in Newsroom as a CD journalist.
And he's in Midnight Mass, right, as the priest.
Yeah. Yes, he is excellent. He is the cornerstone, like Emma Smith is the cornerstone of Bly Manor. He's the cornerstone of Midnight Mass, and he brings it off really, really well, kind of thing. So like it's good that they have these kind of main characters, which kind of are the focal points, kind of thing, and they're so well done that it's really good.
Well, I am looking forward to checking these out. I'm sure everybody who's watching in the future are going to be checking it out, because that your job, if it was salesman, you've sold. I am sold. And just in time for Halloween, everybody. Like, let's face it, there is nothing quite like having something you haven't seen before scare you to the point that you're like, oh, I wish I wasn't watching this. But also having a story good enough that you're like, but I can't stop. That's the definition of greatness when it comes to shows like these. So I'm gonna put on my big boy pants, and I'm gonna watch some of this stuff. And if I'm hiding behind a cushion the entire time, you're gonna get some really rude texts, Paul, where I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?"
That's fine. As I said, they're good, and the scares are gonna get you just kind of like, oh, I gotta dig deep and go through this.
Exactly.
So,
push on through. Well,
if I was to rank these in order just quickly, Midnight Mass is my favourite, Hill House is my second favourite, and Bly Manor is my third. It does not in any way diminish what they're, how well they're done or anything like that. It's just that Bly Manor just is similar to Hill House. So,
well, and the only reason I'm pushing you is we might get this finished before the hour, and I would love. It's the magic number for getting clicks, folks. If you're doing long form video, you want to have less digits in your first before the colon. I would like to thank everybody who's given some fantastic comments, made this a really fun episode. Paul, fantastic job. I think everybody can agree. I'm really looking forward to getting myself caught up. I really hope that some of you do go and watch stuff that's been mentioned here that you haven't seen. Come back, comment down below. And I'm not saying that for the analytics. I am saying that because the interaction with you fine folks out there is the best thing about what we do now. I can't say thanks enough for all the people who've ever taken the time to hit a few keystrokes and drop a cool comment, especially if it turns into a cool conversation. So, Paul, say goodnight in the scariest possible way you can. No pressure.
Good night and happy Spooktober. That's like classic.
I've been Patrick.
And I've been Paul.
And we've been Cheesy. We've been here as Out.
Classic horror.
Happy Halloween, everybody. If that's the right thing to say at this time of year. Enjoy, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.